Light Yagami. This protagonist from Death Note, if that's what you call him, is easily the biggest con artist I've ever seen. But honestly, he's kind of smooth with it too. If you don't know, I'm going to talk about the series as a whole, so this is your spoiler warning here. Now listen, Light Yagami had it made. Many different factors that adolescent boys would love to have today. Matter of fact, forget the adolescence, that's including all the unks out there as well. The most important thing that Light Yagami had going for him is a death note. We see that Mr. Lucky here just so happened to have the Book of Death fall into his school's yard. And since we're going to be talking about everything that happens in Death Note, let's go over these rules real quick. The easiest rule here is any human's name that you write within the book will die. To add on to this, you also have to be imagining that person's face. This way, if someone has the same name, such as Billy Bob Joe, you're not going to have a coincidence that there's two of them dying. The next rule is, if you do write a person's name, there's 40 seconds until they will naturally die. Usually they die to just having a heart attack, it's pretty easy to kill them. However, you can also choose to add a cause of death. If you do need to write a cause of death, you have a couple more minutes to write it so it can happen. So the book itself doesn't have too many rules, and we see Light Yagami wanting to use it instantly. I mean, at the beginning of the series, he was kind of skeptical to use it because would you really believe this if it was you? But after trying it in a few chain of events, he decided that this is real. And honestly, I don't really see too much wrong with what my man did. I mean, the first man we see him use it on is a guy that was keeping school kids at hostage. And if you're from America, you know that school shootings happen left and right. So why would I not want him just to get out of this situation now? And not too much later after that, he was going to the store and saw something unthinkable happening. Now look, a little flirtation is whatever, but this right here, oh no. You lucky that Light had the respect to not do it in front of your face. And this is why him using the death note to a certain degree, I really don't mind it. I mean, he gives his justification himself right here.
Day in and day out. The same news on permanent repeat. This world is rotting.
So after this, he had his 13th reason why and decides to kill any bad person he can with his death note. Now some people are going to think that he did the right thing using the death note and others won't agree with that. And throughout the series, he was able to use another death note to make sure his crimes continued to go flowingly. But he didn't just steal the death note from another user, instead he used another factor that he naturally has. And well, this aspect of Light Yagami is, I don't know dude. Once we see Misa become a part of the story, she was instantly infatuated by Light Yagami. But it wasn't the fact that Misa was physically attracted to him because she never saw him at first. Instead, the reason Misa liked him is because of the way he killed. And what's a better way to find a connection compared to finding someone that kills just like you? After that, it was basically over as soon as she saw him. Misa easily became a pawn for Light Yagami, and for the most part, it kind of sucks if you are a Misa fan. I mean, this is supposed to be another Reaper within the show. But honestly, compared to Light, Misa didn't do enough killing as she should have. I mean, without sitting here counting on my fingers, I think she only killed about 4 to 8 people. So most of her time within the show, she was either being restrained by other men, or she was easily being controlled by Light Yagami. And I get it, Light's a good looking dude, especially because he has the brains and a little bit of the bronze. But Misa also decided to do something unique. You see, another rule within the show is if you do have possession of a death note, you can cut your lifespan in half and see people's real legal names. And if you've been watching the series, then you know if you know. I mean, overall, Light Yagami could have done the same exact thing and been done with it. But he saw his life more valuable instead of getting rid of an op. So, of course, he decided to use Misa's eyes as well so he can get what he wanted. It's just cruel, to be honest with you, plain up cruel. And let me just clear this up that Misa was not a bad character. I mean, she was kind of with the ish when she was by herself. She was over there using her friend to make tapes so she wouldn't have her fingerprints on anything. And after your friend does all this work for you, she was willing to kill her for the guy you met 10 minutes ago.
And this friend you made the tapes with, where is she now?
Why are you doing this to me? If you want me to kill her, just say so and I'll kill her.
So it's really hard to judge if Misa was actually smart or not. Another scenario that she was smart enough to have multiple phones just in case, but then she has both of them stolen at the exact same time because L decided to touch her rump. I mean, it's just crazy. But overall, Misa Mane was a good candidate to be the death dealer, but you're simply not this dude. Light Yagami used her left and right, and he didn't care who he had to go through to do what he needed to do. And we have to give this man Light Yagami his flowers. Besides the large amount of people that he decided to kill, do you think about how many people he had to betray to do what he wanted to do? Don't forget that he was Kira, and this was a whole global phenomenon. So whenever it was a situation where the police, special group, task force, whatever they are, had to get involved, he didn't mind even being a part of the group, acting as if he doesn't know what's going on. On top of that, his whole father is here. I mean, with Light Yagami being considered a suspect several times and his dad going through his health issues, it's crazy he didn't care. I mean, yeah, it's your father. You really don't want to see him in trouble. But he put his life on the line to not only protect his son, but to make sure he could finish this case. And the only time that he found out that Light was Kira was when he was on his deathbed. And Light's dad was not the only one going through these crazy situations. You cannot say that Light was not cooking because he would turn on you at any chance he could. Remember at the beginning of the series, he was willing to kill a police officer looking in this Kira case. And it was a swaggy way to do it, I'm not gonna lie. But even after killing this man, he was willing to go for his wife too. Which, I mean, technically she went for you, I get it, go get your get back. But overall, nobody was given mercy from his wrath. And since we're talking about his character, there's a lot of things you have to question. I mean, first and foremost, it's obvious that he does believe in justice. No matter what you've done wrong, you need to be punished.
I figured if I didn't kill at least one person, you wouldn't believe me. Although that man has been repeatedly charged with sexual assault, he's managed to avoid conviction every time due to lack of evidence.
But when it comes to his personal love preference, you can tell that he doesn't really seem to care about other options. You see, jumping back to Misa, who is a character that decided to cut her life in half twice just for him, Light made it very obvious that the relationship is only related to Kira's best interest. I mean, listen to this man just wailing on her.
Light, is everything okay? Is something wrong? You look kind of...
Misa, just shut up and do what I told you, all right?
But who is this guy?
Just get on with it, all right?
Taking out your anger on her, huh?
And this is not the only time we saw him showing some type of fake interest in another woman in the series. I mean, he practically throws themselves to him and he does not care. But who he does care about is, of course, his arch nemesis. Now again, I get it. It could be because this guy's trying to catch you in an act, I get it. But this scene right here, it was different.
Look, it's fine. You don't have to do that.
I can give you a massage as well. It's the least I can do to atone for my sins. I'm actually pretty good at this.
I mean, I don't know too many dudes that just kind of go out in the rain and then give each other a massage like this. But look, man, you can do your thing. I'm not hating on it whatsoever. But right after this, we see this is the end of the story for L. So it kind of makes you wonder, that this scene means something more that I didn't get? As far as my knowledge, they never said that L or Light Yagami really liked fruit. But maybe I'm just tripping and don't need to think about it whatsoever, who knows? But even though he has all these factors, and I do think he is one of the best antagonists I've ever seen. I mean, it's kind of hard to say what he even is. He could be a protagonist because what he is doing is technically for the world's greater good. But regardless, Light had one of the worst endings I've seen in an anime character. For sure, when L was around, I kind of wish it was him to catch Light Yagami as Kira compared to Nier. Nier was simply not swaggy enough, and the situation of him making a fake notebook was not good enough either. I mean, you just have to think about how many people Light was able to kill throughout this whole journey. They even mentioned how he was able to portray his own family to get the job done. But for Light to get played by a fake notebook like this, I just don't know. Now, I do love the justification as to why he did what he did.
I understood that killing people was a crime. There was no other way. The world had to be fixed. A purpose given to me. Who else could have done it and come this far? Would they have kept going?
And even up to the point that Ryuk writes Light's name in his own book is very great. But as spectacular as this whole part may be, it just shouldn't have been this dude. And at least not in a situation like this. But I digress, because I think Light Yagami's story as a whole is very great. And I love a show that has a good protagonist and an antagonist at which you can see both sides. Now, if you want to, you can let me know if you think Light Yagami was right or wrong in the comments down below. But again, I do think this might be a perfect character. So anyway, I know you're looking for something new. And if you're wondering what to watch next, I got something for you over here. I'll see you over there. Until next time, y'all have a good one. Take care.